You know what? Kim Jennings just really loves the movie Rent.
I don't know if your listeners love it or hate it. I don't know if you love it or hate it. I personally love it. I can't turn it off when it's on, but I have like a young son. It's really not appropriate for him. So when it's on, I have to, put it on mute and watch captions and turn it off when he's in the room and all that good stuff.
And she found herself thinking of one of the characters in the movie as she was preparing to go, I'll let her say it.
It was early summer and I was getting ready to go to this event that I was really excited about called the World Domination Summit.
Normally I try to wrap up these little introductions in a way that will make you want to keep listening. But really, if hearing those two quotes together doesn't have you wanting to hear more, I'm really not sure what I could do for you. So I'll just say, to find out more, keep on listening to today's episode of Tell Me About Your Song.
And I wanted to believe that you could save me. You could save me.
Hello, and welcome to Tell Me About Your Song, the podcast where I talk to musicians and songwriters about a song they've written. Today's guest is Kim Jennings, and the song she'll be talking about is named Here Now, and is from the album of the same name. So where would you like to start, Kim?
So I wrote the song back in 2012, which isn't, I guess, all that long ago. And I also revisited a movie play that I love dearly. I had seen Rent again. Rent, the film. It's set in the, I believe, late 80s, early 90s is when it's set. And it's this coming-of-age story about a bunch of 20-somethings living in New York City, struggling with everything from, unemployment to high rent and rent control to drug addiction and, people falling in love and how AIDS is a part of that and gender identity. It's a really, there's just so much richness to all these different characters. So the character that I was thinking most of when I wrote this, there is a character, and she is dealing with a number of those issues in that laundry list that I just said. And so this is kind of from her perspective. So there's this lyric that's
All alone in the dark as the steam rises all night long.
So she has this very lonely kind of moment by herself, like she's in love with someone, but she still feels really isolated and alone and maybe afraid at the same time and all of that. And there are some images from the film also show up in the lyrics. So the song is this kind of story of wondering where you belong, wondering how you're going to be okay. And I think part of what came out of it, for me anyway, was that it doesn't have a sad ending. It doesn't have a happy ending. It's just very kind of open-ended in that way, and that's, I think, where the "you could save me" part comes from.
And you take me in. I wanted you to, and I wanted to believe that you could save me.
It was early summer, and I was getting ready to go to this event that I was really excited about called the World Domination Summit, which sounds a little scary, but really isn't. It's not about taking over the world in a bad way. It's about community, adventure, and service, and trying to use whatever unique strengths and talents people have and identifying them and being with like-minded people and trying to bring something of yourself to the world and asking how you can be of service at the same time. But so I was getting ready to go to that and thinking about music and thinking about, I guess, my place in the world. It was their second year of the event, and it seemed like oh, this could be a really big deal. And they had opened up, they were having big main stage speakers, and like Brene Brown was speaking there, and she's like amazing, this amazing author. Anyway, so they had this like main stage with all these speakers, and then they decided to allow attendees to pitch workshop ideas. So I had pitched an idea and was in this place of like, oh, am I going to get picked? And this would be really cool if I got picked. I'd be so excited, and I get to meet all these people. And regardless of being picked or not, like, it was still awesome. But my idea was show up with your art creating materials, whether you're a songwriter and you show up with a ukulele or a pen and paper and you're going to write lyrics or a poem, or your art and you're bringing your charcoals or what have you. And we come up with a topic and we sit in this room and whatever people can come up with in an hour, and then we have time at the end and we just share it. That was my idea. It was like art on the spot. So, but my idea didn't get picked, but I got to like the second round, so I was all excited. But it was just this whole thing about, am I going to fit in this community? Like I have this really great close-knit community here at home, and there are so many people doing so many amazing and interesting things and traveling the world and just being kind of outside of yourself, so to speak. So it was really a questioning of, do I fit in here? Do I fit in there? Do I fit in everywhere? Anywhere, everywhere. What am I doing with myself? What am I doing in life? What am I doing with music? Why am I here? You know, all of those kind of wrapped up into this excitement and anticipation and kind of questioning what I'm doing with myself and with my life too at the same time. So yeah, it was a really interesting time. But so that's, I think, the first lyric.
I'm here now to find a place to belong. Millions of faces in one small space. I should find it. I should find it.
At least for me, it's like no matter where I am, I can still feel you're in a big, huge crowd, and you can still feel very alone.
Just to clarify again, so you put together this proposal for it that was where you would, you and other artists would bring things and kind of create at this event. But this song also, like, you weren't writing this song for that per se.
No, the song was not for that. But I wrote it at the time when I was going through that experience of,
right, do
I belong here? Yeah.
Is the music of the song influenced in any way by the music of Rent?
It's definitely a ballad, and there are maybe aspects of it where maybe I was thinking of it like Broadway, but for the most part, not much. But I had visions of like sets in my head, like I had visions of what it looks like if you're on a stage singing this song, like for sure, definitely. But I don't think it drove how I wrote it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. Like, how do you visualize it?
I see like a back street in a New York alleyway with steam rising out of your sewer caps and all of that stuff. I see lights in the sky replacing what would maybe be stars if you were somewhere else, if you're on a stage, like, just kind of the idea of there's just so much space, and yet when you're in the city there isn't. Like, you're so constrained, you're so you're in the middle of the hustle and bustle and everything, and there's so much going on around you that you can't help but feel alone. Like, that's so just kind of sitting up on an outside balcony, outside in an alleyway in the dark in New York, and people are running around down below, and there's maybe whatever's happening up on the corner that's not really all that great, or the cops going by, and just there's just so much activity, and yet there's so much isolation at the same time.
I have my whole life ahead. I'm so should find it.
You're right. I mean, not that I am any expert in Broadway, but I don't feel like it sounds like a Broadway song. But I feel like there's a type of Broadway song where, like, basically someone comes on stage and is like, here's my deal, you know? Like,
Yes.
just to be clear, this is where I'm coming
Yes.
from. This is my,
Yes.
this is my deal. And it,
The quiet moment when the person comes onto stage and has to tell their part of the story. Like, that's what the song is. Yes. Yes.
Right.
Yep. I can see that.
yeah.
I definitely have envisioned standing on a stage in a completely empty auditorium with tiny little lights on everywhere singing this song. I've definitely envisioned that.
You should do it. That could be the music video.
Yeah.
So many people, how can I be so alone? Millions of footsteps chasing me down, chasing me down, and I can't run, I can't run.
The repetition of the word millions, which appears a couple times at the beginning and then comes in at the end and is kind of more threatening then.
It's a cyclical thing. Like, you want to feel better, and then you don't. And then you want to, and then you don't. And then you feel better, and then you don't. And then, there's millions of lights in the sky, and maybe that makes you feel peaceful or hopeful, or that there's got to be a place for me. There's so much space out there. And then you don't because it's weighing down, because that can also weigh you down so much. Like that. Yeah, no, that's a really good catch.
I appreciate your encouragement.
Yes. I think the vocals being more kind of quiet and, just the solo at the beginning, and then having them come in and kind of building and building and building definitely ties into, I think, thematically in the song. So I'm here now to find a place to belong. And then, you find someone and you realize maybe you're not alone, or you can be alone with each other, or you want to be alone with each other, but maybe that other person also feels alone and you don't know if you can trust them. And so the idea of adding and layering the vocals, I think in some respects, like you said, serves to move the song to a particular kind of feeling of a climax. And then in kind of that end part, which I don't even know what you call it in music, so many people, I think of it as a bridge, I suppose it is.
How can I be so alone?
And how, so it's building to a climax and then everything kind of falls away.
Millions of footsteps chasing me down, chasing me down.
So, people are coming in and you're letting them in, and these harmonies are layering on, and that adds to that feeling of being with people, and then they're gone. And then you're alone again. I wanted there to be drums in the song, there's electric guitar in the song, and I wanted it all to be there, but the piano really kind of taking the forefront.
I'm here now to find a place.
I love the electric guitar that, Dan Cloutier, so he did electric guitar on a whole bunch of songs on the album, and I really liked how it not just like filled out the song and the sound of it, but really just kind of brought it to a whole other place.
I have my whole life ahead. I'm so young.
I don't know, I've never really done like the rock band thing, and in terms of, well, the drums responsibility is this and the bass does this, but yeah, as the songwriter, for me, the piano is definitely like because it's a percussive instrument, and that's to me what's driving it more, even musically. But with the electric guitar really kind of holding that bottom too.
And I wanted to believe
little riff. Da 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 da. But when I first wrote it and when I first played it out, it was the same 4 notes but in a different order. So it was da 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 da, and I went to an open mic and I played it, and a friend came up to me and said, "Oh, I really like that song, but you know that like little riff that you're playing? It sounds a lot like Bruce Springsteen's Born to Run." And it was exactly the same little lick, and I was like, "Oh, I have to change it. So that's not good. I can't do that. I can't. No, that can't be." So I went home and I like reworked it, and so that little bit, which wasn't even my own, obviously, led to the rest of the song, which I think for that reason it was good, even though I changed it at the end. So You Could Save Me, because it's the same kind of place with that little riff. They come kind of together. If I have like words and then I sit at the piano and I play 4 notes and then I have 4 words and the next thing you know, you've got your chorus kind of thing like that. But it started with the concept, because sometimes when I first started writing, it was all lyrics first and then putting music to it. And then I feel like as time goes on, it's more, do I take time to sit and like noodle around, and then a melody comes out of it and then I use it in a song. And this was something of like the beginning of that. I had images but not lyrics yet. And then the music helped kind of set the mood for figuring out what the words needed to be.
So if people would like to hear more of your music, what should they do?
They can go to kimjenningsmusic.com. That's my music website. Although I will say I am in a somewhat newly formed band called the Great Molasses Flood. So greatmolassesflood.com is another place to catch up with me and my band, my floodmates. I also do a lot of backup for Lori Diamond and Fred Abatelli. I play djembe and sing with them. And I also am backing Dan Cloutier quite a bit because he has a new record coming out, which is going to be awesome. So his CD release is in January. So those are kind of solo-wise.
I feel like I see you at the Amazing Things Art Center open mic from times. Well, not that I go there that often, but
yes, that is my songwriting home away from home for sure. All of my new songs go there, all of them.
Well, my name's Jacob Haller, and I have a fairly brand new website at jacobhaller.com that has links to my music and this podcast and my other podcast and other projects I got going on. So you can go there if you want to check that out. And I also have a website for this podcast specifically at tellmeaboutyoursong.com. And for every episode, I put together links and things that we talked about. And recently, I've been also posting full transcripts. And so you can find that on the blog at yoursongpodcast.tumblr.com. That's TUMBLR. So with all that said, we're going to go out by listening to the song we've been talking about in full, Here Now by Kim Jennings. Thanks for listening.
I'm here now to find a place to belong. Millions of faces in one small space. I should find it. I should find it. I have my whole life ahead. I'm so young. Millions of lights and time and space. I should find it. I should find it. And you take me in. save me. You could save me. You could save me. You could save me.
Hello, and welcome to Tell Me About Your Song, the podcast where I talk to musicians and songwriters about a song they've written. Today's guest is Kim Jennings, and the song she'll be talking about is named Here Now, and is from the album of the same name. So where would you like to start, Kim?
How about the beginning of the song? Or
Okay. Strong choice.
unless you'd like me to do an overview, but we could start at the beginning of the song. That's fine too.
Okay.
So I should start talking.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Sure. I also, I edit these pretty heavily afterwards.
Okay.
So, yeah. Yeah, if however you want, so talk about the beginning of the song then.
Okay. All right. Well, so